The pressure to always be doing more isn't coming from your schedule. It's coming from a belief that your worth depends on it. Have you ever tried to rest and instead of relaxing, you feel this quiet pressure like I should be doing something? I'm wasting time. I need to be more productive. Even when you're tired, even when you've already done enough, that feeling isn't random and it's not a discipline problem. Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Nourished Life for Christian Women. I want to start this week with a question that might feel very familiar. Have you ever sat down to rest and instead of feeling relaxed, you felt this quiet pressure in the background? Like, I should be doing something. I'm just wasting time. I need to be more productive. Even when you're tired and you already have done a lot, that feeling, it is so common. I wish I could say I wasn't familiar with it, although I'm far too familiar with it. But it's also not a random question. It's not a random feeling. I was having a conversation with a hypnotherapist recently about this belief that I've carried for a long time that I need to always be doing something useful. As we talked, I realized a lot of where that came from. My older sister passed away when she was just 38, and that experience really settled something deep inside of me. We're not guaranteed time. So I paired that with my belief that this life is a God given precious thing. And I made this quiet determination. I am not going to waste 1 minute of this life. I'm going to use it all up very well. And that's a noble thing. But what I started to notice was that I didn't really know how to just be anymore. And when I did something quote unquote unproductive, the internal critique, oh, it showed up fast. But I had to justify it. Like it needed to count for something that time of just doing nothing. But my hypnotherapist, a friend, she suggested something simple. Take a few minutes each day and do something just because you feel like it. Not because it's useful, not because it's productive, just because you want to. And I did not realize how much my soul needed that until I started doing it. Turns out I'm a lot happier when I make space for that. And the thing is, I know that, but I still fall back to my have to be productive pattern. When we unpacked it further, we realized it wasn't really about my to do list or my desire to be productive. It was about what being productive meant about me. Along the way, I had learned if I'm doing more, I'm being good. And if I'm resting, I'm falling short. And listen, that belief doesn't usually come from one moment. It builds over time through praise for achievement, for pressure to perform, from subtle comparisons, internalized expectations, until doing more doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like a requirement to be enough. That's what I call the hustle for worth loop. It sounds like, oh, I'll rest after I fill in the blank. I just need to get a little bit more done, or then I'll feel caught up. But here's the problem. Hate to break it to you, but there is no caught up when your worth is tied to your output. Because the moment you do more, the standard quietly moves, life keeps moving, and there will always be more to do. So you end up living this constant state of low grade pressure, never quite enough, always one step behind. Not because your life is out of control, but because the measuring stick keeps changing. So I want to bring this and anchor it in a biblical truth. You remember the story of Mary and Martha? They were friends of Jesus, and Jesus and others were visiting their house. Now, the Jews at that time had a very strict code of hospitality. You take how you take care of guests. And Martha was busy. She was the one making the food. She was the one serving the guests. And her sister was sitting at the feet of Jesus, just soaking it all in. And when Martha complained to Jesus and said, "You want to make Mary help me with this? I mean, hello, I'm doing it all by myself." And hopefully you've never felt that way, but I think a lot of us have, especially moms. And you remember what Jesus said? He said, "Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things, but one thing is needful." Martha wasn't doing anything wrong. She was doing many good things, but she was also troubled. She was distracted and burdened and pulled in too many directions. We can all relate to that. But Jesus gently called her back, not to doing more, but to being present. So if you feel like you should always be doing more, I want you to pause and ask, what am I believing this makes me if I don't? So, like in Martha's case, what was she believing it would make her if she didn't take care of the guests, if she didn't prepare all the food, if she wasn't rushing around? Would it make her lazy? Would it make her inhospitable? What was she believing it would make her if she didn't do those things? Does it make us feel like we're maybe lazy, maybe irresponsible, maybe not enough? Because that belief, not your schedule, is what's driving the pressure that you may be feeling. And this is where we start shifting, not by forcing ourselves to rest better, but by untangling worth from productivity. What if you didn't have to earn your rest? What if rest wasn't a reward, but a rhythm? We're not talking about rest being sitting and scrolling, not physically doing anything. We're talking about mental rest, that deep sigh when we let our brain quiet and nurture our soul. That's the rest we're talking about. And that's exactly where we're heading next, because next month we're going to be going deeper into this idea, the idea that you are not a project to fix, but a person to integrate. And the idea that a whole woman, a woman who lives by the promise, thy faith hath made thee whole, she doesn't hustle for her worth. Because as long as you believe that you're a project, as long as you believe you have to be productive to be of value, there will always be more to do, more to fix, more to improve, more to prove. But that's not the life you were created to live. For today, just notice, where does that quiet pressure show up for you? And what might shift if your worth was never up for debate? See you next week. If today's episode or any other has resonated with you, I wanted you to know that I offer a free 30-minute call. If you'd like to schedule that, you can find the details for how to do that in the description for this episode. And in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe.